Stories about giants have existed in human history in different forms. Sometimes called ogres, giants are thought to be creatures so big that the earth trembled when they walked. Many people believe that these stories about giants are just fairy tales, while others believe that giants did exist in our physical world. In this video, we will show you the top 20 most mysterious discoveries of giants. Chinese giants. In 2017, archaeologists unearthed skeletal remains of unusually tall people in Shandong, China. It was believed that these giants may have lived in China some 5,000 years ago. The human-like bones were very huge and strong, and had heights of up to 1.9 meters. Along with these bones, pottery and various jade items were also found. This archaeological finding was more amazing because people in China are not known to be that tall. If China had giants, imagine how tall prehistoric people from other countries would be. Alien skull in Peru. A renowned Peruvian archaeologist discovered what is said to be mummified remains of an alien creature. This creature has a triangle-shaped skull, which is nearly as big as a 20 feet long body. How is that even possible? This does sound like Reddit stories, doesn't it? The strange details of the skull point to the fact that this could be an alien. What's more, scientists have been unable to link the physical features of the skull and the alien body to any of the ethnic groups that have lived on Earth. Seems like this is an extraterrestrial being. The giant skeleton of Saudi Arabian desert. A recent gas exploration activity in a Saudi Arabian desert uncovered the ancient skeletal remains of humans of a phenomenal size. Archaeologists are conducting various studies to find out the true facts relating to these skeletons' origin. However, local people and religious scholars link these gigantic skeletons to a story mentioned in the Holy Quran. The story states that God created a race of tall, big, and powerful people who could put their arm around big tree trunks and break them. This race was named Ad. This powerful race later turned against God, and they were destroyed. Giant skeleton of India. Could there have been a race of giants in India? Well, crowds flocked to an archaeological site where a group of explorers unearthed the skeletal remains of a human of phenomenal size. Measuring 18 feet in height, this must be the tallest human skeleton in India. Tyre Explorations was supported by National Geographic. Experts believed that the giant skeleton was part of remains of ancient people who were created with phenomenal size. Red-haired giants. Archaeologists found remains of red-haired giants in Lovelock, Nevada. Lovelock Cave was first discovered in Nevada in 1913. In the cave, miners found buried treasures, artifacts, and remains of what appeared to be red-haired giants known as Seetika. The Seetika are thought to be a legendary tribe of red-haired cannibalistic giants. Miners in Lovelock Cave also found mummified remains of a man having a height of around 6 feet. All of these instances are proof that there was a time when giants did live on Earth. The footprint of God. In addition to skeletal remains, another thing that proves giant people did exist are footprints. Nearly 100 years ago, a giant footprint was found by a hunter in South Africa. Locals nicknamed it the footprint of God. The footprint was 1.2 meters long, and according to estimates, its owner must have stood 27 feet tall. There are no marks or carvings on the rock indicating that the rock was stepped on while it was in molten form. Estimated to be 3 billion years old, the footprint cannot be of a modern human because at the time, life on Earth was in microscopic stages. West Virginia giants. In ancient burial mounds of West Virginia, a number of giant skeletons have been found. Some of these ancient giant skeletons were also found in the early days of coal mining. More were discovered when the ground was later being excavated for other purposes. Also, in 1838, when archaeologists were excavating the Great Creek Mound, which is in present-day Moundsville, West Virginia, they found mysterious giant human skeletons. These skeletons of giants measured a staggering 8 feet in length. Giant skeletons of Ecuador. Legends talk of a city of giants located in Ecuador, deep within the Amazon rainforest. Researchers discovered megalithic structures and pyramids that stood 260 feet tall and 260 feet wide. These structures were built with huge stones weighing about 2 tons each. Initially, explorers concluded that the huge stone structures were natural. Later in the year 1964, locals discovered abnormally large bones, including a shin bone that looked like it belonged to a very tall human being. This led archaeologists to conclude that giants had actually lived in the area. Vampire skeleton of Bulgaria. Next up, we take you to Bulgaria for a discovery that will give you goosebumps. Can you imagine seeing someone stabbing the heart of a dead person to counter the fear that the corpse might return to feast on human blood? I'm sure you can. But have a look at this story. During excavations near the Black Sea, a group of Bulgarian archaeologists found remains of several medieval giants. The massive skeletons were pierced through the chest with iron rods, supposedly to stop them from turning into vampires. This scary story illustrates a pagan practice that was common in villages centuries ago. Bhima's stove. You will be amazed by this story from India that proves the existence of giants. This is Bhima's stove. The monument is placed at Pancharathas complex, in Mahabalipuram, India. Geologists and archaeologists believe the rock arrangement isn't a natural formation. Rather, it must have been arranged by a giant called Bhima. It is believed that Bhima was 12 feet tall. Bhima used to set up fire beneath the metallic cooking pot. To this day, the underside of the pot has soot remains on it. According to local legends, Bhima was granted invincible strength when he met the reptilian. Giants of Death Valley. Giant bodies were found in an underground network of tunnels in Death Valley. The bodies were found with remains of prehistoric animals, precious items, and huge weapons. The giant human skeletons were 9 feet tall and about 80,000 years old. A newspaper in San Diego first reported the news in 1947, but the story along with the giant remains seemed to have disappeared in thin air. How could such a historic discovery just fade away? What a strange world indeed. The Serpent Mound. In 1894, an Ohio farmer was hunting foxes when he stumbled upon something of major archaeological interest. He discovered graves that contained ancient giants. The graves were located in Hillsboro, Ohio. Interestingly, the graves were right next to a serpent mound. When scientists looked into the graves, they found large-sized bones and other body parts. Many believe that these graves are the same graves that have been cited in the biblical account called the Nephilim. Some people believe that the whole story is a plain hoax. The Bible. It would be a rational position to take if we said that biblical evidence isn't worth much. Nevertheless, many historians have used the Bible for various references. When it comes to our topic, the Bible is a good example, for it states that giants have existed since the times of the Old Testament. For instance, it narrates the story of the big Goliath, whom David defeated with a stone and a sling. Giant ape tooth. A German scientist visited an apothecary in Hong Kong looking for dragon teeth. During his visit, he stumbled upon a large molar in a dusty drawer of trinkets. The most interesting fact is that the tooth did not belong to a dragon or an ape. Rather, it was evidence in the existence of a gigantic creature called a Pithecus. The Pithecus is the largest species of primate ever discovered and is believed to have partial human origins. Members of this species stood about 10 feet tall and weighed 1,200 pounds. The tooth found by the German scientist dated back 9 million to 100,000 million years. This story kind of reminds one of King Kong, doesn't it? Mexican giants. In March 2015, a photo went viral on social media showing gigantic human skulls. These skulls were allegedly unearthed in a small village in Sierra de Tapalapa in southern Mexico. It was later revealed that the picture wasn't authentic, it was a graphic artist's work. Nevertheless, the picture did spark a discussion about a giant race known as Kinametzin that supposedly roamed Mexico. 20 feet tall Zehua and 10 feet tall Tilcasin were said to be members of this family. An amazing discovery indeed. Mysterious giant skeleton. In the Krasnodar region of northern Caucasus, a team of Russian archaeologists made a wonderful discovery. While excavating a historical site, they found the bones of giants. The bones are believed to be the remains of ancient people belonging in the Bronze Age who lived about 4,000 years ago. Archaeologists revealed that the male skeletons measured a full 2 meters in height, while female skeletons measured approximately 1.7 meters. The Giant of Ohio. This is a giant story from Ohio. Workmen engaged in excavating a cellar located on Webster Street across from a mammoth skeleton one day. The large-sized skeleton clearly indicated that the human to whom the skeleton belonged was of a giant stature. The skeleton measured 7 feet in height. Most of the bones of this gigantic skeleton crumbled as soon as they were exposed to the air. Hence, archaeologists were not able to ascertain whether it was of American origin or Indian origin. One thing is certain, the remains must have been interred a long time ago. The giant skull of a cyclops. But first, do us a favor. Click that like button to inspire us. Subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell and you won't miss any interesting videos. Done then? Let's go. Some discoveries may sound like creepypasta, but they were actually real stories. On a foggy winter day, a group of men suddenly came across something that was completely out of the ordinary. An enormous skull with the socket of a single eye was discovered. The grotesque-looking skull belonged to a massive monster. Archaeologists linked the skeleton to a huge mammal giant called a cyclop that only had one red eye. It was estimated that this cyclop was 6 feet tall and weighed 6 tons. This intriguing fossil was estimated to be at least 3 million years old. The famous giant of Autzo. Recently, researchers unearthed remains of a famous giant known as Miguel Joaquin Elguisi. Miguel is considered an important historical figure. He traveled throughout Europe in the 19th century and met with royalties like Queen Victoria. It is believed that Miguel was born with gigantism. As a grown man, he stood 7 feet tall and weighed 470 pounds. After his death in 1861, his remains were interred in a cemetery in Autzo, Spain. Surprisingly, his skeletons, which were long thought to have been stolen, were later found in the same cemetery where he was originally buried. Unique giant skeleton in Thailand. A huge ancient humanoid skeleton was found in a cave in Krabi, Thailand. The skeleton was a male and measured about 6 meters. However, the most amazing fact about this skeleton is that next to the giant skeleton were found remains of a serpent. It is said that the giant skeleton must have been killed by a horned snake in a cave. This discovery sparked widespread public curiosity. It left people wondering whether snakes sneak into graves to feast on the dead. Which of these discoveries was the most amazing? Do you think giants exist even today? Please let us know in the comments. Like always, if you'd enjoyed it, be sure to give us a big thumbs up and give us some love in the comment section. To keep up to date with all of our awesome videos, be sure to hit subscribe and turn your notifications on to never miss a thing. Until next time, do take care of yourself.